What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? To wonder at the mystery of life is central to the human experience, uniting us all, for who has not pondered the meaning of life or marveled at their own existence? It is the deepest of mysteries and the most personal. We delve into ancient texts, hoping to unearth wisdom from those who came before us. The mystery of existence binds us together. It is a shared quest for understanding, a universal yearning for truth. Throughout history, countless civilizations have risen and fallen. Each offered its own unique perspective on life's grand puzzle. Myths, religions, philosophies, all attempts to make sense of our place in the universe. They reflect our deepest fears, our wildest dreams, and our unyielding desire to find meaning in the chaos. The search for answers is a journey without end. Every generation grapples with these fundamental questions. We inherit the wisdom of our ancestors, yet we are driven to seek our own understanding. This pursuit of truth is what defines us as human beings. It is the driving force behind our art, our science, our very civilization. We are a species of storytellers, constantly weaving narratives to explain the world around us. These stories, passed down through generations, shape our beliefs, our values, and our understanding of reality itself. But what happens when the stories we tell no longer serve us? What happens when our understanding of the universe limits our potential instead of expanding it? Today, a new story is emerging. It challenges the dominant narrative that has shaped our world for centuries. This new story, grounded in scientific discovery and philosophical inquiry, invites us to reconsider our place in the cosmos. It asks us to question our assumptions and to embrace a more expansive view of reality itself. This is the story of consciousness and its profound implications for understanding who we are, where we come from, and what we are capable of achieving. The modern world, in its quest for understanding, has largely embraced a perspective known as materialism. It is a perspective that perceives the universe as an enormous, soulless machine, and has been a cornerstone of scientific thought since the Age of Enlightenment. Born out of a rebellion against the superstitious and often oppressive religious institutions of the time, materialism strips reality down to its bare, physical essence, suggesting that everything is fundamentally material in nature. The stars in the cosmos, the life forms on Earth, even our thoughts and emotions are all seen as mere byproducts of matter, bound by immutable laws of cause and effect, devoid of meaning or morality. This led to tremendous advances in science and technology, revolutionizing our understanding of the natural world. Materialism has been undeniably successful in explaining a vast array of phenomena, from the movement of celestial bodies to the intricate workings of the human body. Science has provided us with an unprecedented understanding of the physical universe. The development of modern medicine, the harnessing of electricity, the advent of computers, all are testaments to the power of the materialist paradigm. However, despite its undeniable successes, materialism faces a fundamental challenge: the enigma of consciousness. The subjective experience of being alive, of feeling, thinking, and perceiving, remains stubbornly resistant to explanation within a purely materialist framework. How can a universe composed solely of matter and energy give rise to the richness of inner experience? Materialism, in its current form, struggles to provide a satisfactory answer. It tends to relegate consciousness to a mere byproduct of brain activity, an epiphenomenon with no causal power. But this explanation feels incomplete. It fails to capture the essence of what it means to be conscious, to experience the world subjectively. The materialist perspective, while valuable for understanding the physical world, seems to hit a wall when confronted with the mystery of consciousness. This limitation has profound implications. If consciousness is merely a side effect of matter, then our thoughts, feelings, and experiences are ultimately insignificant in the grand scheme of things. This view can lead to a sense of meaninglessness and a devaluation of the human experience. It can also foster a purely instrumental view of the natural world, where everything is seen as a resource to be exploited. The environmental crisis we face today is, in part, a consequence of this materialistic worldview, which has prioritized economic growth and technological progress over the well-being of the planet and its inhabitants. The seeds of the materialist worldview were sown long before the Enlightenment. Ancient Greek philosophers, renowned for their pursuit of reason and logic, grappled with the nature of reality. Democritus, for instance, proposed that the universe was composed of indivisible particles called atoms, moving randomly in a void. This atomistic theory, though rudimentary, planted the seeds of a worldview that sought to explain the world in terms of its fundamental constituents. However, it was during the Renaissance that the materialist perspective began to take shape more fully. The Renaissance marked a period of immense intellectual and cultural change in Europe. It was a time of rediscovering classical knowledge, challenging established authorities, and celebrating human reason and creativity. This spirit of inquiry paved the way for the scientific revolution, a period of unprecedented scientific discovery that transformed our understanding of the natural world. Scientists like Nicholas Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, and Isaac Newton made groundbreaking observations and developed revolutionary theories that challenged the prevailing geocentric view of the universe. Copernicus's heliocentric model, which placed the Sun at the center of the solar system, revolutionized astronomy. Galileo's observations with the telescope provided further evidence for Copernicus's theory and challenged the authority of the Church, which had long held that the Earth was the center of the universe. Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation provided a unified framework for understanding the movement of objects both on Earth and in the heavens. These scientific breakthroughs not only advanced our knowledge of the physical world, but also shifted the way people viewed the universe and humanity's place within it. The scientific revolution was not merely a period of scientific discovery, it was also a cultural and intellectual revolution. It marked a shift away from reliance on religious dogma and towards a more empirical and rational approach to understanding the world. The success of science in explaining natural phenomena led to a growing belief that the universe could be understood as a complex machine, governed by immutable laws. This mechanistic view of the universe, with its emphasis on predictability and determinism, became increasingly influential, shaping not only scientific thought but also other aspects of culture and society. The materialist perspective became a dominant force in Western thought. Enlightenment thinkers emphasized reason, individualism, and human progress. They challenged traditional sources of authority, such as the church and the monarchy, and advocated for separation of powers, individual rights, and a society based on reason rather than tradition. Descartes, a French philosopher and mathematician, is often considered the father of modern philosophy. His famous dictum, cogito, ergo sum, I think therefore I am, emphasized the importance of the thinking self as the foundation of knowledge. However, Descartes' dualistic view, which separated the mind from the body, created a philosophical problem that has haunted Western thought ever since. How can a non-material mind interact with a material body? This mind-body problem remains a central challenge for materialist accounts of consciousness. The materialist perspective, fueled by scientific advancements and philosophical inquiry, had a profound impact on society, shaping our values, institutions, and our relationship with the natural world. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 18th century and continued throughout the 19th century, was a testament to the transformative power of the materialist worldview. The invention of new machines, powered by steam and later by electricity, led to unprecedented increases in productivity, transforming societies from agrarian to industrial. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant changes in the way people lived and worked. Factories sprang up in urban centers, attracting people from rural areas in search of work. The rise of factories led to mass production, making goods more affordable and accessible to a wider population. However, this progress came at a cost. The Industrial Revolution also brought about pollution, overcrowding, and harsh working conditions for many factory workers. The materialist worldview, with its emphasis on progress and the exploitation of natural resources, played a significant role in shaping the Industrial Revolution and its consequences. The 20th century witnessed even more dramatic technological advancements driven by the materialist paradigm. The discovery of electricity, the invention of the automobile, the development of airplanes, and the advent of computers, all these innovations transformed the world in unprecedented ways. The materialist perspective, with its emphasis on scientific progress and technological innovation, fueled these advancements, shaping the modern world as we know it. However, the materialist worldview also contributed to some of the most pressing challenges facing humanity in the 21st century, including climate change, environmental degradation, and the increasing gap between the rich and the poor. Materialism, for all its explanatory power, stumbles when confronted with the problem of consciousness. How can a universe composed solely of matter and energy give rise to the subjective experience of being? This question, known as the hard problem of consciousness, has vexed philosophers and scientists for centuries, exposing a crucial gap in the materialist narrative. Materialism excels at explaining the objective, measurable aspects of the world, the movement of planets, the behavior of chemicals, the firing of neurons, yet it struggles to account for the inner world of subjective experience. The feeling of sunlight on your skin, the taste of chocolate, the joy of love, the sting of loss. These subjective experiences, known as qualia, are fundamental to what it means to be human. They shape our perceptions, our emotions, our very sense of self. To reduce consciousness to mere brain activity seems insufficient, like trying to explain the beauty of a symphony by analyzing the chemical composition of the instruments. Imagine a neuroscientist studying the brain of a person experiencing the taste of an apple. They might observe neurons firing in specific regions of the brain, correlating with sensory input and cognitive processing. But can these objective observations ever capture the subjective experience of the taste itself? The sweetness, the tartness, the unique flavor that exists only in the mind of the experiencer. Materialism leaves out the most essential ingredient, the subjective feeling of what it is like to be conscious. This gap between the objective and subjective realms has profound implications for our understanding of reality. If consciousness is merely a byproduct of brain activity, it suggests that we are nothing more than biological machines, our actions predetermined by the laws of physics and chemistry. Materialism's difficulty in explaining consciousness stems from its reliance on reductionism, the belief that complex phenomena can be understood by breaking them down into their simpler fundamental components. This approach has been incredibly successful in many areas of science. By studying the properties of atoms and molecules, we have gained a deep understanding of the physical world. However, when applied to consciousness, reductionism encounters significant limitations. Can we truly understand the richness of subjective experience by reducing it to the firing of neurons? Imagine trying to understand the beauty of a painting by analyzing the chemical composition of its pigments. You might learn about the different types of molecules present, their properties, and how they interact with light. But would this knowledge alone allow you to fully grasp the aesthetic impact of the artwork, the emotions it evokes, the ideas it conveys, the beauty that emerges from the arrangement of colors and forms? Similarly, reducing consciousness to brain activity while providing valuable insights misses the essential nature of subjective experience. The whole, as the saying goes, is often greater than the sum of its parts. The limitations of materialism in explaining consciousness have led some thinkers to explore alternative paradigms. These alternative views challenge the materialist assumption that matter is the fundamental ground of being, proposing instead that consciousness may play a more central role in the universe. One such alternative is panpsychism, the view that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, present in all things to a greater or lesser degree. Panpsychism suggests that even seemingly inert objects, such as rocks or atoms, possess a rudimentary form of consciousness, albeit far simpler than human consciousness. While this idea may seem radical at first glance, it offers a solution to the hard problem of consciousness. If consciousness is fundamental, then it doesn't need to be explained away as a byproduct of matter. Rather, matter itself might be seen as an expression of consciousness, a way for the universe to experience itself. Another alternative is idealism, which posits that consciousness is the ultimate reality and that the material world is a manifestation of mind. In this view, the physical universe is not separate from consciousness, but is rather a projection or construction of mind. Idealism finds support in quantum physics, which suggests that the act of observation can influence the behavior of subatomic particles. This finding challenges the materialist assumption of an objective reality existing independently of the observer. If our observations can shape the world around us, then consciousness may play a more active role in shaping reality than materialism allows. These alternative perspectives, while speculative, highlight the limitations of the materialist worldview and invite us to consider the possibility that consciousness may be more fundamental to the nature of reality than we have previously imagined. The materialist perspective, while undeniably successful in advancing science and technology, has also shaped our values and our relationship with the natural world in profound ways. Its emphasis on the material realm has led to a devaluation of the immaterial, the spiritual, the ethical, the aesthetic. This devaluation has contributed to a sense of disconnection from nature, a view of the planet and its resources as commodities to be exploited for human gain. The environmental crisis we face today, climate change, deforestation, pollution, can be seen, in part, as a consequence of this materialist worldview. When we view the natural world solely as a collection of resources to be extracted and consumed, we lose sight of its intrinsic value, its beauty, its interconnectedness, and its ability to sustain life. Furthermore, the materialist emphasis on the individual, coupled with its reduction of consciousness to brain activity, has contributed to a sense of isolation and meaninglessness. If we are nothing more than biological machines, our actions predetermined by our genes and our environment, then free will becomes an illusion, and our lives can feel devoid of purpose. This sense of meaninglessness can lead to a focus on material acquisition and self-gratification, as we seek fulfillment in external things rather than within ourselves. The materialist worldview, then, while offering valuable insights into the workings of the physical world, may also be limiting our understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. By exploring alternative perspectives, such as the one we are showcasing in this series of videos, we may begin to develop a more holistic and compassionate worldview, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of living in harmony with nature. The limitations of materialism, particularly its struggle to accommodate the reality of consciousness, have spurred a search for a new narrative. This new story, while still unfolding, challenges the fundamental assumptions of the materialist paradigm and offers a radically different perspective on ourselves and the universe we inhabit. This emerging perspective, which we can call a consciousness-based theory of reality, posits that consciousness is not a mere byproduct of matter, but rather a fundamental aspect of existence, perhaps even the very ground of being itself. This is a profound shift in perspective. Instead of viewing consciousness as an accidental epiphenomenon, it suggests that consciousness is primary, the very fabric from which the universe is woven. Imagine a universe where awareness, not matter, is the fundamental reality. In this view, the physical world, with its laws and regularities, is not separate from consciousness, but rather a manifestation of it, a way for consciousness to experience itself in a structured and meaningful way. This new narrative finds resonance in ancient wisdom traditions, which have long emphasized the interconnectedness of all things and the primacy of consciousness. However, it is not simply a rehashing of old ideas. This emerging perspective is also grounded in modern scientific discoveries, particularly in fields like quantum physics, which suggests that the act of observation can influence the behavior of subatomic particles, hinting at a deep connection between consciousness and the material world. This new narrative challenges us to rethink our place in the universe. If consciousness is fundamental, then we are not isolated individuals trapped in a meaningless material world. Instead, we are participants in a vast web of awareness, interconnected with all that is. Our thoughts, feelings, and intentions, far from being insignificant byproducts of brain chemistry, take on a new significance. They become part of the fabric of reality itself, capable of influencing the world around us in ways we are only beginning to understand. The idea of consciousness as fundamental to the universe is not entirely new. Ancient wisdom traditions from Vedanta to Buddhism have long explored the nature of consciousness and its role in shaping reality. However, these ideas, often shrouded in esoteric language and mystical metaphors, have often been dismissed by the modern scientific worldview as lacking empirical evidence. What is new is the emergence of scientific findings, particularly in fields like quantum physics and cosmology, that lend support to a consciousness-based view of reality. Quantum physics, for example, has revealed that the act of observation can influence the behavior of subatomic particles. This observer effect, as it is known, challenges the classical view of an objective reality existing independently of the observer. It suggests that consciousness, far from being a passive observer, plays an active role in constructing the very fabric of reality. Similarly, cosmology, the study of the origin and evolution of the universe, has uncovered a series of surprising coincidences known as the fine-tuning problem that suggest the universe is remarkably well suited for life. These coincidences, such as the precise values of fundamental physical constants, are so improbable that some physicists have proposed that they point to a deeper principle at work, perhaps even a conscious intelligence that guided the formation of the universe. While these scientific findings do not prove the existence of a universal consciousness, they do suggest that a consciousness-based view of reality may be more compatible with our current scientific understanding than previously thought. This emerging paradigm has profound implications for our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. If consciousness is fundamental, then our thoughts, feelings, and intentions take on a new significance. They are not merely ephemeral byproducts of brain activity, but rather expressions of a fundamental aspect of reality, capable of influencing the world around us in ways we are only beginning to explore. The tension between materialism and a consciousness-based view of reality can be seen as a reflection of a deeper duality that has long characterized Western thought, the separation of mind and matter, subject and object. This Cartesian dualism, named after the 17th century philosopher René Descartes, has profoundly shaped our understanding of ourselves and the world, leading to a fragmented view of reality. On the one hand, we have the objective world of matter, governed by immutable laws, a world that can be measured, analyzed, and controlled. On the other hand, we have the subjective world of experience, the realm of thoughts, feelings, and qualia, a world that often seems elusive and resistant to scientific scrutiny. This division has led to a privileging of the objective over the subjective, the quantifiable over the qualitative, the material over the spiritual. However, the emerging consciousness-based paradigm invites us to move beyond this either-or thinking, to embrace a more holistic and integrated view of reality. It suggests that consciousness and matter, subject and object, are not separate entities, but rather two sides of the same coin, two expressions of a deeper, more fundamental reality. This is not to say that the material world is not real or that science is irrelevant. Rather, it suggests that our scientific understanding of the universe is incomplete, that there are aspects of reality that cannot be fully captured by our current methods of inquiry. The shift from a materialist to a consciousness-based paradigm has profound implications for our understanding of what it means to be human. In a materialist universe, we are often seen as isolated individuals, our lives ultimately insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Our thoughts, feelings, and experiences are reduced to mere byproducts of brain chemistry, our actions determined by a complex interplay of genes and environment. However, in a consciousness-based universe, we are participants in a vast web of awareness, interconnected with all that is. Our thoughts, feelings, and intentions take on a new significance. They become part of the fabric of reality itself. This shift in perspective has the potential to empower us, to awaken us to our interconnectedness and our capacity to create a more compassionate and just world. It invites us to live our lives with greater purpose and meaning, knowing that we are not isolated individuals, but rather integral parts of a vast and interconnected web of being. The heart of the materialist worldview, with its vision of a clockwork universe governed by predictable laws, began to tremble in the face of a revolution in physics in the early 20th century. Quantum mechanics, a theory that describes the behavior of matter at the subatomic level, shattered the deterministic certainty of classical physics, revealing a reality far stranger and more mysterious than previously imagined. One of the most startling discoveries of quantum mechanics was the observer effect. Experiments showed that the act of observation, the conscious awareness of an observer, could influence the behavior of subatomic particles. This was a radical departure from classical physics, which held that the observer played no role in shaping the reality being observed. In the quantum realm, however, reality seemed to be intimately entwined with consciousness. The iconic double-slit experiment, for instance, demonstrated that electrons, those fundamental particles of matter, could behave as both waves and particles depending on how they were measured. It was as if the electrons knew they were being watched and adjusted their behavior accordingly. This finding sent shockwaves through the scientific community, challenging the very foundations of the materialist worldview. Here was evidence directly contradicting the notion of an objective reality existing independently of the observer. The universe, at its most fundamental level, seemed to be a participatory dance between consciousness and matter. The implications were profound. If consciousness could influence the behavior of matter at the quantum level, could it also play a role in shaping reality at larger scales? The observer effect, while still not fully understood, hinted at a deep connection between consciousness and the material world, a connection that materialism had long denied. It suggested that the universe might be more like a giant feedback loop, with consciousness and matter engaged in a continuous dance of creation and transformation. This was a far cry from the deterministic clockwork universe envisioned by classical physics. In the quantum realm, uncertainty and possibility reigned, and consciousness seemed to play a key role in collapsing those possibilities into the concrete reality we experience. While quantum mechanics was revolutionizing our understanding of the subatomic world, another field of study was quietly undermining the materialist paradigm from within the human mind itself. Cognitive psychology, the study of mental processes, began to reveal the astonishing power of the mind to shape our experience of reality. Researchers discovered that our perceptions were not simply passive reflections of an objective external world. Instead, our minds actively constructed our reality, filtering, interpreting, and even distorting sensory information to fit our existing beliefs, expectations, and emotional states. Numerous studies demonstrated the power of expectation and belief to influence our perceptions. The placebo effect, for instance, showed that people could experience real physiological changes simply because they believed they were receiving a treatment, even when they were given a sugar pill or a sham procedure. This illustrated the extraordinary power of the mind to influence the body, a connection that materialism had long struggled to explain. It suggested that our thoughts and beliefs were not merely ephemeral byproducts of brain activity, but rather potent forces capable of shaping our physical reality. What we perceive as reality, then, is not an objective representation of the world, but rather a carefully curated construct shaped by our individual minds. This understanding of the constructive nature of perception challenged the materialist view of a mind passively receiving information from an objective external world. It suggested that we are not simply observers of reality, but active participants, co-creating our experience of the world through the lens of our individual consciousness. As quantum mechanics and cognitive psychology chipped away at the foundations of the materialist worldview, a new scientific framework began to emerge, one that offered a radically different way of understanding the universe and our place within it: complexity science. Complexity science, a transdisciplinary field that studies complex systems, offered a new lens through which to view the interconnectedness of all things. It challenged the reductionist approach of classical science, which sought to understand systems by breaking them down into their individual components. Instead, complexity science emphasized the importance of emergent properties, those characteristics that arise from the interactions between parts and cannot be predicted or understood by studying the parts in isolation. A flock of birds swirling in the sky, for example, exhibits emergent properties that cannot be explained by analyzing the individual birds in isolation. The coordinated movement, the intricate patterns, the collective intelligence. These emerge from the dynamic interactions between the individual agents and their environment. Complexity science found applications in diverse fields, from ecosystems and climate change to economics and social networks. It revealed a universe woven together by intricate webs of relationships, a universe where emergent properties played a crucial role in shaping the behavior of systems at all scales. This interconnectedness, this intricate dance of emergence, challenged the materialist view of a universe composed of separate, independent entities interacting in predictable ways. Instead, complexity science suggested a universe more akin to a vast, interconnected web, a living system in constant flux and transformation, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And within this interconnected web, consciousness, far from being an anomaly, could be seen as a fundamental property of reality, playing a crucial role in shaping the behavior and evolution of those systems. The implications of a consciousness-based theory of reality are as profound as they are far-reaching. It suggests a universe not of passive observers, but of active participants, where our thoughts, feelings, and intentions have the power to shape the very fabric of reality. This is not to say that we can simply wish things into existence. As in some New Age fantasy, the universe operates according to laws and principles that we are only beginning to understand. However, it does suggest that our inner world, our subjective experience, is not merely a sideshow to the main event of an objective material reality. Instead, it implies that consciousness is intimately woven into the fabric of the cosmos, playing a fundamental role in shaping the reality we experience. This has profound implications for how we live our lives. If our thoughts and beliefs can influence our reality, then cultivating a positive and compassionate mindset becomes not just a matter of personal well-being, but a responsibility we have to ourselves and the world around us. The negativity bias, for instance, that ancient evolutionary imperative that attunes us to threats and dangers, can keep us trapped in cycles of fear, anxiety, and scarcity. But if we can learn to shift our focus, to cultivate gratitude, compassion, and a belief in our own potential, we may begin to create a reality that reflects those qualities. This is not simply wishful thinking, but a recognition of the interconnected nature of consciousness and the power of our minds to shape our experience. This shift in perspective also has implications for how we approach global challenges such as climate change, social injustice, and political polarization. If we see ourselves as isolated individuals, our actions may seem insignificant in the face of such overwhelming problems. However, if we recognize our interconnectedness, our shared responsibility for creating a better future, then our individual actions take on a new significance. Every act of kindness, every effort to reduce our environmental impact, every attempt to bridge divides and build understanding contributes to a collective shift in consciousness, a ripple effect that can spread outwards, shaping the world in positive ways. The transition from a materialist to a consciousness-based worldview is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is a transformative journey, a shift in consciousness itself. It requires us to question our deepest assumptions about the nature of reality, the self, and our place in the cosmos. It invites us to step outside the familiar framework of our conditioning to explore new ways of seeing, thinking, and being in the world. This journey is not always easy. It can be challenging, even disorienting, to let go of long-held beliefs, to embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. The materialist worldview, for all its limitations, offers a sense of security, a framework for understanding the world that feels solid and predictable. Letting go of that framework can feel like stepping off a cliff into the unknown. However, it is in the unknown, in the spaces beyond our familiar maps of reality, where we can discover our greatest potential. It is in embracing uncertainty, in questioning our assumptions, that we open ourselves to new possibilities, new ways of being, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The journey towards a consciousness-based worldview is not a solitary one. It is a collective awakening, a shared exploration of the nature of reality and our place within it. As more and more individuals begin to question the limitations of the materialist paradigm, to explore the possibilities of a consciousness-based view, we create a collective momentum, a shift in the cultural zeitgeist that can lead to profound social and environmental transformation. This is not a utopian vision of a perfect world. Challenges and conflicts will undoubtedly remain. However, by embracing a consciousness-based worldview, we can begin to approach these challenges from a place of greater understanding, compassion, and interconnectedness. We can begin to see ourselves not as isolated individuals competing for scarce resources, but as interconnected members of a global community, sharing a common destiny and a responsibility for creating a future that works for everyone. The journey we've undertaken, from the heart of materialism to the frontiers of a consciousness-based worldview, has been a voyage through the history of ideas, a quest to understand the nature of reality and our place within it. We've seen how the materialist paradigm, born out of a noble pursuit of reason and empirical observation, has shaped our world, leading to remarkable advancements in science, technology, and medicine. Yet we've also encountered its limitations, its inability to account for the problem of consciousness, its tendency to reduce the richness of experience to mere physical processes, and its role in fostering a sense of disconnection from ourselves, each other, and the natural world. The emerging consciousness-based paradigm, while still in its infancy, offers a radical departure from this materialist worldview. It invites us to consider the possibility that consciousness is not a mere byproduct of matter, but rather a fundamental aspect of reality, perhaps even the very ground of being itself. This shift in perspective has profound implications for how we understand ourselves, our relationship to the universe, and the meaning and purpose of our lives. This is not a call to abandon reason or the scientific method. The pursuit of knowledge, the rigorous testing of hypotheses, the search for empirical evidence, these remain essential tools for understanding the universe we inhabit. However, it is a call to expand our view of what constitutes valid scientific inquiry, to acknowledge the limitations of our current paradigms, and to embrace new ways of seeing, knowing, and being in the world. The journey towards a consciousness-based worldview is not a destination but a process, a continuous unfolding of understanding. It is a journey that requires us to question our assumptions, to challenge our beliefs, and to embrace uncertainty with courage and curiosity. It is a journey that invites us to step into a larger story, a story where we are not isolated individuals in a meaningless universe, but rather active participants in a vast and interconnected web of being. A story where our thoughts, feelings, and actions have the power to shape the very fabric of reality. This is the dawn of a new era, an era of conscious evolution, where we awaken to our interconnectedness, our potential, and our responsibility for creating a world that reflects the wisdom, compassion, and creativity that lie at the heart of who we truly are.